am so excited to be here with you today. We are with Anna Lutz today. Anna Lutz is one of our longtime experts, registered dietitian and nutritionist, and we are diving into a topic that I know so many of our moms truly struggle with, so many families truly struggle with, and that is the stress of mealtime. Anna, this was a topic that you had mentioned and brought up. So this must be something that comes up for you a lot too.
Absolutely. I mean, it comes up for me personally that I find that meal times can be stressful, but it's also something I hear about so much from the clients I work with and from the families I interact with out on social media and on the internet is that it's just it can just feel overwhelming. And oftentimes it's supposed to be a fun time to connect
Yeah.
with family, but it can feel so stressful.
Have to admit I'm a little disappointed that I heard you say that because your kids are slightly older than mine. So I thought there was an end on the horizon, but oh well, I guess it's just part of life.
Well,
So
I will say it gets easier. I will
okay.
say that. Yeah, it
I
does.
will take that.
It is. It's stressful in different ways.
I mean, as is all aspects of parenting, it just keeps rolling with you.
True,
So why do
true.
you think meal times are so stressful for parents?
Right. I think there's a lot of factors. I think the big one I think about is the pressure that's put on us from the outside of what a mealtime should look like, what our kids should be eating, what our kids shouldn't be eating, how much they should eat. I think parents are bombarded with, all these shoulds, and it's really influenced by diet culture and that bodies should look a certain way. And I think parents really internalize that, and it's not anyone's fault. We're all swimming in this culture that puts all this demands on us as parents. And so dinner time or a meal time that can all kind of come up to the surface of thinking to be a good parent, I should be making sure my kids are eating in a certain way. For a parent who has a picky eater, there might be pressure around that. In addition to those external demands, I also think dinner time in particular is kind of put on this pedestal. It's the end of the day. We should all be connecting, and kids are tired. So there's just like reality of it's been a long day, especially if you have young kids. They're tired. It's almost bedtime. And so again, kind of feeling like it should be some wonderful experience, and it doesn't play out how we might be telling ourselves that it should.
In everything you were saying, I heard all the shoulding
Yes.
and, we
Yes.
always hear we shouldn't should all over ourselves and it's so true. And I think with so much of what you said, it makes me think of two things really, our generation and how we grew up and sort of
Yeah.
that pressure around diet culture and you have to have 3 bites of your vegetables before you can have a dessert and that's how we
Right.
were raised. So it
Right.
makes sense that we have that kind of shoulding in our head on that
100%.
topic. And then
100%.
simultaneously, I thought about social media and all of these Instagram accounts of all these super moms that have, all their vegetables cut like flowers and the whole plate is perfectly portioned of everything and how that can make a parent feel that sense of shoulding, like I'm not doing quite enough because this
No.
is what everyone else is doing.
I'm so glad you brought up social media. I think that's a huge influence on
Yeah.
us as parents. It's those images of what these perfect plates or these perfect lunch boxes or whatever it might be. And so I think that's such a good point. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oh, the lunch boxes.
Oh, don't even get me started on the lunch boxes.
So what advice do you have? What advice do you give
Yeah.
parents who are saying, "Oh, mealtime is so stressful."
Yeah. So, I mean, my number one piece of advice is if you can to take a moment outside of a mealtime and think about what you need as a parent to feel more supported at meal times, and maybe to try to think about what those expectations are and what you can let go of. And so this could be thinking like, wow, where I'm sitting at the table is always beside the child that I'm really worried about if they're eating enough. What if I think I might do better if I change my seat or change the child's seat. So it could be something physical, like what do I need as a parent to be able to settle in and feel more grounded at mealtime? Or it might be I need 5 minutes before we sit down at the table to myself, and I need to ask my partner, give me 5 minutes and, then let's get everybody to the table. It could be to say, you know what, I'm going to let go of these expectations that everything needs to be home cooked. And I'm going to try to come up with some really simple meals and let go of the perfect what's for dinner and just focus on trying to feel more grounded at the table. Even if it's peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and sliced apples for dinner, let's kind of focus on decreasing that stress and not worry so much about what's on the table. And we can get to that later. So those
Oh,
are some kind of starting points.
so important. I heard in that a very strong message to focus on what you have control of and what you need. Because I think so much of this pressure, we're thinking about what the kids need and
Yes.
how we can fulfill everything for the kids and what the kids are or are not doing or eating. And ultimately, they are their own person and we can't control that. But what we can control
Right.
is ourselves.
That's so
So
true. So
such a
true.
powerful message.
And I really believe that if we feel less stress and more supported as parents, our children are going to feel that. And then if our children are feeling less stressed and more supported, they're going to eat better. And so our goal ends up, it's the same. We all of us want our children to, eat well and thrive and be happy, and just kind of remember that it really needs to start with us feeling more supported and less stressed with how we feed our family, and to work on blocking out that noise that we were talking about at the beginning of
Yeah.
this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know that this is something that comes up often. We talk about it in our Her Circle Facebook group all the time.
Yeah.
What advice would you offer to a parent who is worrying that at mealtime their child isn't eating enough food, or perhaps this is one that comes up a lot, aren't getting enough fruits or vegetables?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a really great question. And so some of it would be the same of, okay, what do I need to decrease the stress level at the table? But I also really encourage parents to remember we can't make our children eat a variety of foods. We might be able to coerce our children into eating a few bites of something at a certain meal time, but if we can zoom out and think, okay, parenting is a long range, we have long range goals. We have years that we're going to, working on this. And instead of thinking, okay, my child has to eat something at this meal, to think, I'm teaching my children over time to eat well. And so that might be, I'm making sure there's a fruit or vegetable on the table, it's being passed, or if I'm making my child's plate, I'm putting it on the plate, and that there's exposure in that. And without the pressure of you have to eat this or you have to do this, that exposure can go a long way. The research really shows that the exposure, whether it's seeing someone else eating it, smelling it on the table, whatever that might be, that really helps that over time that child's more likely to try it. So just to kind of remind yourself, okay, it's not my goal to make my child eat it. It's more to model what a balanced meal looks like. So that kind of speaks to the fruit or vegetable part. The eating enough part, that's a kind of a very complicated question to answer, but I really do think about, what do I need to decrease stress level, and then what does this child need to settle into the meal? And I might look at the timing of the child's eating before the meals. Are they coming to the table hungry? What else might be going on? And of course, if you're worried about their growth and development, it's always good to sit down with a dietitian and try to assess that together.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such important advice and information. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and insights with us today, Anna. If you are interested in more information from Anna, she has a wealth of resources available on her website, the Sunny Side Up Nutrition website, as well as her Health Collective. She writes and provides content for us regularly, so be sure to check that out. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.